Hi students, myself Varaprasad, Physics faculty. Now we are going to learn refraction at spherical surface. Before going to start this one, let us recollect what we learned about refraction. So refraction means whenever a light ray travels from one medium to other medium, there may be change in its path. So this is refraction. Let us see here. We are taking here, this is a boundary separating two media. Their refractive indices mu1, mu2. According to Snell's law, mu1 sin I is equal to mu2 sin R. That means when there is no change in the medium, the light ray is supposed to travel in the same path, straight line. But since there is a change in the medium, it is now bending, and that bending may be towards normal or away from normal, which is depending on the values of mu1 and mu2. Here one important point is like we have to know what is a denser medium and what is rarer medium. If you see here, mu equal to c by v, where c is speed of light in vacuum and v is speed of light in that medium. So when speed of light is more, it is called rarer medium. If it is less, it is called denser medium. Let us see here. When speed of light is more, then mu value is less. If speed of light is less, mu value is more. That means directly by seeing the values of mu, we can say which is denser medium and which is rarer medium. So if mu value is less, it is rarer medium. If mu value is more, it is denser medium. Okay, children? Now see carefully. If we take mu1 greater than mu2, that means it is denser medium and this is now rarer medium. Since mu1 greater than mu2, therefore R value should be more. R value more means it is bending away from normal. If I am taking in the reverse case, means entering denser medium. Entering denser medium means now mu2 value is more. When mu2 is more, R should be less than angle of incidence. That means bending towards normal. So this is what we have learned about refraction earlier. Now coming to refraction at spherical surface. So having here two transparent media, their refractive indices mu1 and mu2. Boundary is a spherical surface. First we should know what is the terminology. We are going to discuss now what is a pole, what is the center of curvature, radius of curvature and principal axis. Coming to pole, it is midpoint of that spherical surface, that is called pole. Now this spherical surface is a part of a sphere and the center of that sphere is called center of curvature, and radius of that sphere is called radius of curvature of that curved path, and the line joining the pole and center of curvature, that is called principal axis. Right? Is it clear, children? Right. Let us go to ray diagram. Now see here, medium 1, medium 2. Let us take this is a denser medium and this is now rarer medium. Right. If you take light ray along the principal axis, that means angle of incidence is 0. Since angle of incidence is 0, angle of refraction also 0. So this is what we can say from Snell's law. We can see here mu1 sin I is equal to mu2 sin R. Since mu1, mu2 are non-zero values, since I equal to 0, R should be 0. That means for normal incidence, angle of refraction must be 0. Here you can see two more rays, incident normally. Since they incident normally, all these rays will pass through center of curvature. That means there will be no deviation. So this is the important point. Whenever rays are falling normally on the surface, there is no deviation. Right? Let us go to the next one. That is, rays are parallel to principal axis. So rays parallel to principal axis when there is no change in the medium. supposed to go without deviation like this, but there is a change in the medium. It is now traveling from denser to rarer medium. Therefore, the ray must bend away from normal. Children, see carefully here. Supposed to go like this when there is no change in the medium, right? So it is now entering into rarer medium. Therefore, it has to bend away from normal, right? Yes. So it is now bending away from normal. If you extend the rays back, see carefully, going to converge somewhere here. So this is now image is virtual. That means when rays are parallel to the principal axis, traveling from denser to rarer medium, then rays will diverge. Therefore, if we extend the rays back, we are getting a virtual image. Is it clear? Right. Let us go to next diagram. Here also, light ray is now parallel to principal axis, but entering into denser medium. So since entering into denser medium, the light ray must bend towards normal, right? That means the rays are really converging. Therefore, image will be real. Okay, na children? So we have taken here rays are coming from denser medium, and here we have taken from rarer to denser medium. And in both the cases, we have taken rays coming and incident on the convex surface. Now let us see if the rays incident on the concave surface. Now consider light rays incident on the concave side. So here you can see rays are parallel to principal axis, but incident on the concave side. Till now we have seen incident on the convex side, right? So when there is no change in the medium, it is supposed to travel like this in straight line. But since there is a change in the medium, it is now bending. And you can see rays coming from denser medium. Therefore, the rays must bend away from normal because entering into rarer medium. Therefore, bending away from normal. That means rays are really converging. Therefore, image is real. Okay, students. Now see carefully here. Take the same thing, but now it is from rarer to denser medium. Therefore, since entering denser medium, bending towards normal. See carefully. Light rays parallel to principal axis. Now this is normal. So it is now bending. It is bending towards the normal, right? That means if you extend the rays back, image will be virtual, right? So we have discussed now. First case, it is like instant normally on the surface. Then there is no change in the path, means undeviated. Second, we have discussed instant on the convex surface. Then we discussed two cases. Now it is instant on the concave side, and again two cases. That means is the image real, is the image virtual? That we have to focus very carefully. Okay students, now we are going to derive an equation for diffraction. Let us see here. This is the spherical boundary. This is medium 1 and this is medium 2. Now light rays coming from the object, incident on the boundary. After refraction, rays are now converging here. In fact, the rays may converge or may diverge, and u comma 0, they are coordinates of the object, and that of image v comma 0, and that of center of curvature r comma 0, and p is the pole. And let us take here alpha is the angle made by the incident light ray with principal axis. And here we are assuming that all rays are paraxial. So first we have to focus what is the meaning of paraxial rays. So whenever the light rays are very close to the principal axis, or we can say angle made by those light rays with the principal axis is very small, they are known as paraxial rays. So in this derivation part, we are going to take only paraxial rays. That means alpha, beta, gamma, and next angle of incidence and angle of refraction. All the angles are very small, right? Okay. Now students, see carefully. Triangle OAC. It is now OAC. So A is the point where light rays incident. So in the triangle OAC, alpha plus beta is equal to y. Right? I am saying once again, triangle OAC, alpha plus beta is equal to I. Next, triangle ACI, triangle ACI, gamma plus R is equal to beta, right? Now apply here Snell's law. Mu1 sin I is equal to mu2 sin R according to Snell's law. And here we have assumed all angles are very small. Okay, children, right? Therefore, sin I approximately equal to I. In the same way, sin R is approximately equal to R. Therefore, in the place of sin I, taking I. In the place of sin R, taking R. So I am writing here, since I, R are small. So when you are saying small, its meaning is very small, right? Okay. Now in the place of phi, we can write alpha plus beta. So alpha plus beta. In the place of R, we can see R equal to beta minus gamma. So beta minus gamma. Now simplify this. So it is now mu1 alpha plus mu2 gamma, that is equal to mu2 minus mu1 into beta. Since alpha is very small, this point A is very close to point P. Children, see carefully. Angle alpha is very small. Therefore, this point A is very close to point P. That means if you draw a line from A to P, it will be straight line. Therefore, if you take triangle OAP, in the triangle, it is now right angle triangle. In the right angle triangle, tan alpha is equal to AP by PO. Tan alpha is equal to AP by PO. The relation is A is very close to point P. Okay, na? Therefore, tan alpha is approximately equal to alpha. Already we mentioned here, we are taking only paraxial rays. Therefore, alpha is very small. So tan alpha is approximately equal to alpha, because tan equal to sin by cos. Since alpha is very small, cos alpha becomes 1 and sin alpha approximately equal to alpha. Therefore, tan alpha is equal to approximately alpha. And tan equal to, it is opposite side by adjacent side, that is AP by PO, right? In the same way, if you take, it is now APC. This is also one right angle triangle. The relation is beta is very small, therefore point A very close to P. Therefore, APC forms one right angle triangle. That's why tan beta, it is approximately equal to beta, that is equal to AP by PC, right? In the same way, tan gamma, it is approximately equal to gamma, that is equal to AP by PI, right? And here PO is equal to minus 2. See children, why we have taken here negative? Here PO is nothing but distance of object, right? And here U is a coordinate which itself is negative. That's why to make it a positive, we have taken minus 2, right? And next Pi is equal to V and PC equal to R. And substitute those values here. Mu1 into, it is AP by PO plus mu2 into AP by PI, that is equal to mu2 minus mu1 into AP by PC. Now cancel here AP throughout. We are going to get mu2 by V minus mu1 by U is equal to mu2 minus mu1 by R. So students, finally we got relation mu2 by V minus mu1 by U is equal to mu2 minus mu1 by R. This is the equation for refraction at spherical surface. Okay, children? Right. An important point is this is valid only for paraxial rays. Already we discussed what are paraxial rays. And coming to one important point here, this is also be used for refraction at plane surface. In that case, we have to take r equal to infinity. In that case, see what we get? Mu2 by v minus mu1 by u is equal to 0. Right? See, let us see once important points in this derivation part, what we have taken. So first of all, here we have assumed all the angles are very small. That means rays are paraxial. The angles are very small, means rays are very close to the principal axis. Right? So this is the derivation part to get that equation. Now we are going to take some problems how to apply this equation. Right, coming to here, we are having a bird at a height of 15 meter and a fish at a depth of 20 meters, and both are in the same line. Now here bird is moving down with a speed 12 meter per second, right? And fish is now stationary. Now we can see fish is observing the bird. That means bird is now object and a fish is observer. That means here this is medium 1 and this is medium 2. So now we want to find out what is distance of the bird as observed by the fish. In the same way, velocity of the bird with respect to the fish. So coming to here, so we have learned these things in refraction while discussing apparent depth, right? Now here we got relation. It is so it is mu2 by v minus mu1 by u, or that is equal to 0. So this is what we got from equation for refraction, that is mu2 by v minus mu1 by u is equal to mu2 minus mu1 by r. There we are taking r value infinity since it is a plane surface, right? Now applying this in this case. Now we have to see what is mu1 and what is mu2. So now bird is object and fish is observer. Therefore light rays coming from the bird reaching the fish. Therefore air becomes medium 1 and water becomes medium 2. So in the place of mu1 taking it is now 1, in the place of mu2 taking 4 by 3, right? Then see what we are going to get here. So v equal to mu2 into u by mu1, right? Now see what we have written here. So finally, yes, distance, this remains 20 for the fish. This 15 appears to be mu times, because v equal to mu2 by mu1 and mu2 equal to 4 by 3 and mu1 is equal to 1, right? So it is now mu 4 by 3 into 15. Okay, now so 20 plus 20, that is now 40. So it appears to be at a height of 40 from the fish, or you can say distance of the bird from the fish is 40 meters, right? So this is about the distance. Coming to the velocity. Coming to velocity, now take the same equation, now differentiate that. So dv by dt, that is velocity of image of the bird, and du by dt, that is velocity of object. Now bird is stationary, fish is moving downwards with a speed 16 meter per second. Now bird is looking at the fish. So we want to find out now what is velocity of the fish as observed by the bird, distance of the fish from the bird. Okay children, now see carefully. Applying once again same thing. Now rays coming from the fish reaching the bird. Okay now, therefore water becomes medium 1 and air becomes medium 2. Therefore in the place of mu1 it is now taking water, that is a 4 by 3. In the place of mu2 taking it is air, that is 1. That means distance of the fish with respect to the bird. This remains 15 for the bird, but this 20 appears to be 20 by 4 by 3. So this is what we got from this one. Okay, now students, now see carefully. This value plus 15, that is equal to 30 meter. That means for the bird, fish appears to be at a distance of 30. The 30 is from the bird, right? Next, calculate velocity of the fish with respect to bird. And again taking the same logic. We are taking here mu2 value. It is now air is 1 and mu1 is now water. Then it becomes now 16 by 4 by 3, and that is equal to 12 meter per second. Means velocity of the fish in water is 16 meter per second, but it appears to be 12 meter per second for the bird. Okay, children, let us go to one more problem to get more clarity on this refraction equation. We are taking here a spherical surface, medium 1, medium 2, mu equal to 1, and other one is mu equal to 1.5, right? And radius of curvature given 30 centimeter. And coming to here, distance of object from this spherical surface is given 15 centimeter, right? Now take here mu2 by v minus mu1 by u is equal to mu2 minus mu1 by r. And while taking this one, we have to follow the sign convention, right? Now see carefully, mu2, light rays entering into the other medium. Therefore, it is now 1.5 by v minus mu1 is 1 by u. Coming to u is now negative value, that is minus 15. That is equal to mu2 minus mu1 by r is now positive. So after simplification, we are getting v equal to minus 30. Now students, see carefully the meaning of negative sign here. So its meaning is that rays after refraction, now they are diverging. And when you extend those rays back, they will converge somewhere here. Means it is a forming image in the same medium. It is virtual image. Is the point clear, students? I am repeating once. The meaning of negative sign. Image forms in the same medium. After refraction, rays are diverging. So we have to now extend the rays back. Then they will converge somewhere here. And distance of that image from this surface is 30 centimeters. Okay, children? Right. Let us go to the next problem. Having here one transparent solid sphere is a transparent one. A refractive index equal to 2. Keeping object at some distance x from this surface, then image forms at same distance from this surface. So now we have to calculate what is the distance of the object. So from this diagram, we can guess that the rays after refraction must become parallel. Only in that case, this distance will be equal to this distance. That means after refraction, rays becoming parallel, its meaning is that v value infinity. See carefully, mu2 by v. So rays coming from air to entering into that transparent medium. So mu2 by v value infinity minus mu1 by, it is u value minus x. That is equal to mu2 minus mu1 by r. Here r is a positive value, right? By sign convention. From this we are going to get x equal to r, right? Is it clear? Now we are going to recollect once till now what we have discussed. So first we discussed what is refraction. In that we have discussed like what is a denser medium and what is rarer medium basing on their refractive indices. And next we discussed regarding Snell's law. And after having Snell's law, we discussed a refraction at spherical surface. And in that we have discussed what is a terminology, like what is a pole, what is center of curvature, what is a focal length, and what is radius of curvature. And after having that, we have seen in some cases the ray diagrams, and after that we have discussed how to get expression for refraction. That is mu2 by v minus mu1 by u is equal to mu2 minus mu1 by r. This is the equation for refraction at spherical surface. And here important point is that this is valid only for paraxial rays.